Hey Squishies, back again with another vlog. This is Dirty Pair, episode 11. Ha ha ha, men and dresses should both be new. May have gotten the order there, so I'll try it a little. Another really fun episode, huge improvement over last time. This episode was just ridiculous nonsense, end to end. Reminded me a lot of the episode with the cat and the ridiculous car chase. This was the same kind of like high energy, a lot of humor, largely unconnected sequence of events built around the theme of Kay and Yuri have terrible luck. In a lot of ways it was basically a farce. The only reason I'm a little hesitant to call it that is that most farces involve multiple plot threads that converge into chaos at the end. And that sort of happened here, but not entirely. Basically, the main plot threads going on here were Kay and Yuri getting mistaken for two bank robbers who looked a little like them, but much older, and the K equivalent was a man. They, in attempting to flee from the police over this, they accidentally kidnap a group of children. All this is happening while they're trying to get to a party, because they've finally got time off. And those two threads sort of converge when the kids recognize them as the dirty pair, which forces them to have to deal with the bank robbers. But then the party thread just kind of gets tacked on at the end when they find out that the man who's throwing the party is actually their boss. Which honestly, like, he says the photo was of a much younger him, and that's why Kay and Yuri didn't recognize it, but frankly, from the beginning of the episode, I thought it looked like their boss. I was like, is this going to turn out to be their boss's party? Or is it going to turn out to be, like, somebody who looks just like their boss, and it freaks them out, or, you know, who knows? So, you know, it was a fun episode. There's a lot of humor in it. Interestingly, Kay spent the whole episode in what are, you know, generally thought of as men's clothes. I mean, she wore her usual outfit a couple times, and she briefly wore this, like, very 80s loose baggy thing, but then when they went shopping for the new dress for Yuri, she was wearing like this very 19th century style suit and bowler hat, if I remember right. And then after the chase sequence, when they finally went to the party for real, she changed into basically a zoot suit, you know, complete with fedora. She actually looked good like that. You know, that's a good look for her. But it did contribute to her being mistaken for a man, though I don't see how anybody could actually do that. Like, especially in that 19th century thing, she was filling it out pretty completely. But I think it's just all part of the gag about how, like, you know, Kay's insecurities about being not as attractive as Yuri, even though, I mean, Kay is obviously best girl. Like, that's just not up for debate. Like, the computer is just wrong in that first episode when it can't decide. Like, it's not a contest. Regardless, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to find anything to say about this one because it literally was just a whole string of really good gags. I love at the beginning where the chief tells them basically you can get your time off as soon as you finish the current mission, so they just blow up the whole place. That's one way of finishing the mission. Not that different from the way they usually finish their missions. They just cut to the chase. But it really kind of just makes clear, like, this is how bad their luck is. Even when they're not being the dirty pair, they get stuck being the dirty pair, and chaos follows in their wake. Nothing quite as sublime as that whole sequence of the cars and balancing on the beam, the episode with the cat, and them trying to fight and catch the cat at the same time. Nothing. I don't think any gag in the show is going to achieve that level, because that is just one of the all-time great gag sequences in anything ever. But this was still really solid throughout. A lot of really fun bits. I liked that, like, the kids love the dirty pair. They play dirty pair, but once they actually meet the real dirty pair, they're terrible brats. Like, unruly, uncontrollable, better at creating chaos than Kay and Yuri are half the time. Which is, it's kids for you. I like that when the reporter, because through the whole thing, the whole reason they're trying to get to this party is because they have a week off. All the guys they know are busy, so they're hoping to meet new guys, so that they can actually go on dates during their week off. So I like that when, like, the reporter, after they foiled the bank robbery, the reporter is trying to ask them, basically trying to interview them and asking them to come on his show that night, and the excuses Kay gives sound like, things that either get you out of date or that you say when you're breaking up with someone. She says, we have plans for tonight, we hate kids, because he wants them to appear with the children. I hate kids being, either an excuse not to go on a date with someone when they have kids, or reason to break up because the other person wants kids, etc. I forget what the third one was, but it was the same pattern. That they were all... It was like he was asking her out and she was rejecting him, in keeping with the whole theme of the episode. Which helps contribute to that almost a farce structure. I mean, technically it basically was a farce, because it's, this sequence of comedic events happening very chaotically, based on the idea that, life is very random. But it just didn't have that coming together element that most really great farces have. But I guess, technically I don't think that's required, it's just usual. But it still felt a little odd to not have it here, or at least not have it completely gel. Still a really funny episode. Like I said, huge improvement over last time. Not quite up to the heights of, I think it was episode 8 that I really loved, and also the episode with the cat that I really loved. But it's good. This was good. It'd be nice to see them, they're very likable characters. It would be nice to see them get a break for once. But then there wouldn't really be an episode if they did, It's like wanting Donald Duck to catch a break. That's the closest Western example I can think of. Someone who has terrible luck and a bad temper and sows chaos in his wake. Actually, I really like that comparison. Maybe it's because I just watched DuckTales multiple times over the last week. But, the new pilot. But, yeah, I'm really liking the Donald Duck comparison for them. They're a little bit more violent than he is, though. Although he can be pretty violent. There is that comic you occasionally see bounced around as evidence of how dark Donald can get, where he essentially murders Goofy. Throws him a rope while he's drowning, and then ties the other end of the rope to an anchor and throws it into the water. Dark. But yeah, there's never anything quite that dark in Dirty Pair. There's just sublime ridiculousness. And this episode definitely had the latter and came close to the former. It was definitely very, very ridiculous. I don't know if it quite had that sublime quality that the best episodes have, but it was good. So, I think that's honestly about all I have to say about it. Thank you, Bennett, for commissioning it. And all of you, I'll see you all next time. Bye.